A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Techgig webinar series. The topic for today's session is Plan and Manage the Software Development Lifecycle. And we have with us today Naveen, who is the Head Pre-Sales Micro Focus India. Naveen is a PhD holder and a qualified MBA with 13 years of work experience in different domains like IT, finance, sales, and marketing. In his previous engagements at Boland and Micro Focus, he was involved in the pre-sales and post-sales activities, which comprised of consulting and close collaboration with customers during the evaluation phase or piloting of a project for conducting the proof of concept study. Continuing the role and responsibilities at CompuWare, he was also into mobilizing and training partners' technical teams to address customers' needs and requirements. He is engaged in conducting seminars at various forums and has been actively involved in the corporate market development of India region for application performance testing and management tools and technologies. We will have the session going for the first 45 minutes where Naveen will take us through a bunch of slides, followed by which we are going to open up for a very brief round of Q&A. During the last 15 odd minutes. Request all the attendees to start sending in questions to me from 3:30 p.m. onwards today so that the same can be assigned to Naveen accordingly. And in case there is any problem in terms of the connection, audio, visual, both, please feel free to inform me right away by sending me the messages on the chat window. So without any further delay, now I hand over the session to Naveen. Over to you, Naveen. I hope you can hear me, Naveen.
Yeah. Hi, Srilagna. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, Naveen. Please carry on.
Okay. Just one confirmation I seek. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Srilagna, for a very nice introduction of mine. And a very good afternoon to each and everyone who has logged into today's call and my discussion and presentation on plan and management of the SDLC, that is the software development lifecycle. The pleasure is all mine in sharing my ideas and views on the topic. So I would like to start off straight away. As Srilagna has already mentioned that I'll be going on with the presentation for 40-45 minutes, and then I'll take up the questions as and how they come in. So let me just start from by describing the agenda so that we have an idea as to what all we're going to touch upon in today's presentation. The first agenda being a CIO's concern. Okay, we had done a survey with one of our partner research companies. I'll give you more details on that when we go to the respective slide, and I'll share the outcomes of that research, our survey, and then we'll talk about the realities of software development as of today as we speak. And also, apart from saying what are the CIO's concerns, we'll also discuss the points on addressing the CIO's concerns. How do we address them? How do we provide a resolution to the CIO's concerns? Then we'll deep dive into the software supply chain, which is totally in sync with the topic today, plan and manage your SDLC. What are the key issues which are faced and the respective solutions to those key issues, and the desired outcomes. What have to be the desired outcomes in today's software industry, where SDLC is being widely practiced. Okay, so moving on to the first slide, it's very important for us to understand that active collaboration between an end client and its service provider is really key to the paramount success of any outsourced management. If an end client, it can be a telecom industry or a banking industry, if at all, they outsource a particular project or development of a net banking application, let's say for example, then the success is very paramount. Nobody gets into such a project by thinking or hoping for failure. That's totally absurd, right? So business case benefits which arrive from this success have to be realized by the end client who outsources the project to the system integrators or the service people in service industry. So today's trend is towards innovation in open lifecycle management, lifecycle quality management, and software supply chain. End client is the focus in maintaining and having a proper control on all these practices, and outsources accountability. He is accountable for the complete execution, right? When let's say a particular bank outsources to a particular system integrator, then the system integrator is completely accountable for the success of that particular project. Okay, so every IT company has a CIO. As I said, we in Bolin, Micro Focus, we did a survey along with Vanson Bone, wherein we came across really some amazing facts and the hard facts of the industry. Let's discuss more about the same. Almost half, or rather 48% of testing and development projects are outsourced. That's not new. This is very much a fact which is there in the industry, and that's what we realized through our survey as well. And in this, it was predicted that the CIOs are seeing a 15% increase in these outsourced projects in the next 2 years' time, right? So what actually are the hidden factors which came out from our studies? 31% of, let me just try and see if the screens are getting updated. Yes. So 31% of the outsourced projects have run into service level or time issues, and 23% have failed to deliver on final requirements. Okay, these are really negative figures. These are certainly not encouraging figures. What is this doing? This is threatening 35% of the CIO's job. It is getting into the personal arena of the CIOs, which is totally not healthy and totally unacceptable. And the reason is 55% say that the failure is due to outsourcing projects which has too many changes in the requirements during the project. This is a major revelation in our study, because most of the times when the blame game happens, it can be the developers pointing fingers at the testers, or testers pointing fingers at the architects, or so on and so forth. But 55%, the majority of the reason is that the failure of these outsourcing projects is too many changes to the requirements during the project, right? And this is a huge problem because 37% feel they can certainly manage the variety, variability, and the changes which are coming in, the change requests which are coming in, but 85% of the people are totally not confident in their ability to bring in clarity and collaboration by proper communication in the project. So though we hope to get some really good positive figures, through our survey we ended up with these figures which are the facts of the industries. Let's try to understand what are the realities of software development as we see today. Before that, I would like to highlight, let me just take a pen. As you understand, this is our SDLC. Define, design, develop, test, deploy, and maintain, right? What are the realities of software development here? Unsatisfied customers, scope creep and rework. There's a lot of kind of squeezing, compromise in the project, and that is leading to a lot of rework. Projects are not being delivered on time. Deadlines are not being met. Changes which are part and parcel of any project are not being handled properly, are not being handled quickly and not properly. A proper foresight or a proper insight into the project is lacking. There's a vacuum there. Performance problems, missed commitments are a major issues which lead to a reputational risk. So next time that particular client or a particular client or a different client in that particular domain would certainly not go with that system integrator. Our reputation takes a major hit, which is certainly not healthy. For software projects in today's market dynamics, the results are cost, complexity, confusion, delays. Of course, as I said, taking a hit on the reputation is not any company would want. So let's take a deeper look into how we can address the CIO's concerns and also the challenges which are there in the current software industry in SDLC. What's the need of the day? Clear and accurate requirement that reflect the business need and have the stakeholder support. A stakeholder support says, I want these particular aspects to be covered. These are my requirements which have to be covered in the application you're developing and delivering. That has to be exactly meeting the expectation of the stakeholder. If it doesn't, then it's certainly not acceptable. There has to be confidence in the outsourcer's understanding. They have to have this particular capability in order to get into the shoes of the stakeholder and try to understand from his perspective and then deliver. Stability with appropriate change. Yes, certainly. Change, as I said, change requests are part and parcel of any project. So they have to be taken well and then managed and have to be given a stable platform to be executed. And visibility into processes and practices. This is the key. You have to have a visibility into processes and practices. If you do not have visibility, then you do not have control and you will not have a predictability into the project. You do not know where what is happening and where what is going wrong. So all the customers, what have to happen in this SDLC? All customers operate a software supply chain. True. Everyone on this call certainly understands this. Some are all internal and some are all external, and there's also a blend of both, and almost always all the team are in multiple locations across the globe. Today, as we speak in today's market, we do not have a centrally located team as we used to have it earlier in the past, but not anymore. Most activities in the software supply chain can be outsourced, usually with the exception of business analysis. Right? So activities to the left are more related to value creation. That is requirement definition, requirement gathering, requirement management, and elicitation. This is really key. As we saw in the results of our survey with Vance and Bone, requirements not being given justice was a key to failure of many projects. So shift left, this is a common terminology which everyone understands. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The idea of a supply chain is to enable the business to focus more on value creation. Whatever is there on the left side, we are calling it as a value creation. I'm certainly going to talk more about this. And pass the execution activities to the external providers so that expertise can be used at a lower cost and risk. Let's learn more about this. Okay, I spoke about value creation execution. Here I would like to kind of draw a demarcation in SDLC this way. So define and design. This phase in SDLC is more to do with value creation, wherein we want to have control and ownership on the project. This is where ideas are created and refined, and initial concepts are also created. Define and design is very key. So that's why we are creating a value creation here, or rather we are creating a very invaluable inputs. And to put it in simple words, as you see here, value creation in define and design stage. As we move to the next stage, which is develop, test, deploy, and maintain, execution of this value creation has to happen very successfully and meticulously to be carried out. The majority of the cost and the complexities have to be taken care in the execution. Likely area for a single or multiple outsources. When I say likely area for a single or multiple outsources, let's say a particular telecom company gives development of a particular project to one system integrator and the testing to another system integrator and support and maintenance to another system integrator, that is, or all of which can be handled by one system integrator or one software company. So that's exactly what I mean by single or multiple outsources. Increased need for accountability and visibility. Yeah, this is the key. This is like a fuel in a car. Accountability and visibility has to be always on top-notch priority. Constant balance between speed of delivery and information management, each of which cannot compromise on the other. Just because of speed of delivery, you cannot compromise on information management, and just in order to do justice to information management, you cannot compromise on speed of delivery. That is, you can't take your own sweet time. So there has to be a proper balance constantly between these two. These are the connecting stakeholders. In define design, which we call it as value creation, business analysts, executives, stakeholders, and end users inputs. These are the connecting stakeholders for design and define and design proportionately, which is also known as value creation. For execution, it can be an outsourcer, a third-party outsourcer, the development team, customers themselves, channels, different channels, or research institutes and distributors for execution phase. I brought up this connecting stakeholders so that we are able to know what are the different role plays for value creation and execution. Okay, now I would like to bifurcate our discussion further into value creation first. Let me pay more concentration there, and then I'll move on to the execution part in a while. Okay, what do we do in value creation? We create, right? Creation is the key here. And what are the needs? Collaboration, reference point. And what are the problems we face? How do all contributors know what needs to be produced, right? Left hand needs to know what right hand is doing, or left hand needs to know what right hand wants. How do we compare our finished work with the original idea? If the customer wanted A, is he being delivered A, or is he being delivered X, Y, Z, right? And coming to the execution phase, where we created in the value creation, then in the execution phase we are validating and then delivering. So let me take validate first. Validate, managing change and variety. How is change communicated and managed consistently? Just by just capturing the change is not enough. We need to manage it and communicate properly. How do we plan and deliver variety at a reasonable cost and pace? Every project has a budget, and utilizing the budget very cleverly is paramount to that budget of that particular project. So we cannot compromise on that, and we need to plan and deliver the variety. And who is doing what, and how long will each contributor take? How long will the developers come up? How long will the developers take to come up with the code? How long will the testers take in order to test those codes and come up with the bugs which the developers need to fix it? So how can we create visibility of progress towards completion, which is the end goal? And when do we know when something is completed? When do we know when requirement management is completed? When do we know when the blueprint is completed by the architects? And similarly, the code is completed by the developer and the test cases executed by the testers. Okay, what are the key issues in what we discussed so far? Let's take create first, which is define and design. I'll go one by one so that everyone are on the same page, and it's easy for everyone to understand what exactly I'm talking about. So, defects and rework costs. What do these lead to? They lead to, let me quickly take my pen out. Okay, defects and rework costs. What do these lead to? They lead to problems with features and needs that are fixed later and are very, very costly. Okay. how do we face this challenge, or how do we take care of this challenge? How do we provide a resolution to this? Provide facilities to ensure that all stakeholders are working towards the same goal with no surprises in between. No surprises are not at all welcome, right? So in order, we have to have a facility in place to ensure all stakeholders are working in tandem. Limited and end user involvement. The end user who gave the requirements, he has a limited involvement in the product, in the project. And what does this lead to? End user miscommunication means limited adoption and quality issues, right? If the end user would have said that I want the logo in my net application to be on the right side, and if the logo is in the middle, he's going to immediately say this is not acceptable, and that gives birth to a defect, which is not acceptable, right? So show the end users simulations so that they know what's coming in and they can give a feedback. So taking the example what I gave, if I show even before developing, during the requirement gathering and management phase itself, if I tell me, when I say I as a software provider or as a system integrator company, if I show without much delay into developing, or not waiting till the development happens, during the requirement phase itself, if I show them simulations, they'll realize that the logo, what I had said, was supposed to be on the right side and it's in the middle, and it gives a feedback. You can fix it then and there itself so that a bug is not born, right? Lack of real-time tracking. Untracked projects lead to scope creep, compromise, squeezing. How do we fix it? Tracks and trace delivery status from major development. Okay, I think the screen is getting updated. Okay, I'm just trying to see. Okay, tracks and trace delivery status from major development systems so scope creep is avoided. Slow product delivery cycles. How are deliveries not being met? Gathering and tracking requirements holds the entire SDLC process. How do we fix it? Bring everyone together to quickly get consensus on what to build to speed up the delivery process. Prioritization, planning, and execution becomes key in such scenarios. Moving on to execution, and that execution validate, which directly is in sync with development and testing phase of SDLC. What are the issues and what are the problems they give rise to? Quality cycles take too long. Testing takes too long. Customers have to decide between time to market and quality, which both are really important. If HDFC says that I am going to come up with a net banking by 1st April, and even on 1st of May if it is not delivered, then the time to market and quality, there has to be a balance. They cannot go live. They cannot meet time to market by compromising on quality. That's gonna hit their end users badly, right? So risk-based test automation, making it possible to achieve adequate coverage across all functionalities. I don't know if the screens are getting updated as I'm speaking. Srilagna, can you just point out if at all something like that comes up?
Certainly. I am on the validate key issues screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what was original, and to move on to the next one, not in sync with business, right? What was originally designed isn't being tested for. Whatever is the requirement which was originally designed for is not being tested at all, and that's going to hit real bad. How are you going to meet it? Synchronize requirements and test management tools to automatically link tests to evolving requirements. Performance problems. Who doesn't face performance problems? They are very much inculcated into a particular application development. Consumer expectations are being met. We know as on today some of the publicly available, widely used websites have performance problems. So how do you manage this? Ensure peak performance tests are carried out across critical business transactions. Moving on to the next one, testing assets are unorganized. There are many huge assets when it comes to a particular testing projects. They're totally unorganized. They have to be organized, given priority, and then taken up accordingly. So tracking tests internally and via third party is insufficient and expensive. Unify all testing activities and reports into one central hub for proper management visibility, one central source of truth. Put everything there, pick out those testing assets whenever required in an organized fashion. Okay, now I'm moving on to deploy and maintain, where delivery is the key. Let's see what are the key issues here. Agile teams not linked. Today, we know that lot of projects are getting into Agile. Everybody's talking about Agile. Everybody says we are Agile compliant. We have Scrum Masters in our projects, but we do see some issues there as well. Agile teams are not linked at all. Teams are operating on different tools. They're working in silos. And being in silos, they're not linked to the business needs at all, which is the ultimate factor on which the success of the project is going to be determined, the business needs, right? So how do we manage that? Synchronize all Agile team projects, regardless of the tools they are using, to achieve visibility for development and management. Issues take too long to resolve. If there's a bug, it takes too long to fix that bug. And linking code to custom issues is always a challenge. So end-to-end traceability provides okay, I'm just waiting for the screen to update. Yep, I guess it is updated. So end-to-end traceability provides multiple entry points across the supply chain to resolve issues. Okay, let me give an example here. If a particular requirement is given by the customer, if that particular requirement is not taken care, as I said, a defect is born, and this defect, let's say, comes to notice during UAT, that goes to the tester. The tester then points finger at the developer. Developer says this was whatever requirement was given, it was coded based on that. Tester also says that whatever code was there, I did the I created a test case based on that, and it failed. So you do not know where the culprit is sitting. Hence, it's very important to have an end-to-end traceability. Whatever requirement you are capturing, that needs to have a traceability to the design or the blueprint or a model, which again has a trace to the source code, which source code has a trace to a test case. In the same breath, I would like to say a requirement has to have a direct trace to a test case. That's when you have an end-to-end traceability, providing multiple entry points across the supply chain, and that easily resolves the issues. Global teams not in sync. You have many teams spread across the globe. You have a team in US, you have a team in UK, one in India, one in Singapore, or ANZ. They're not in sync. The popularity of globally distributed teams, or a GIT hub, is giving birth to a symptom of uncoordination, is giving birth to a symptom of bad communication and bad collaboration. So we need to ensure all team members are working on the correct artifact without heavy replication. Let me give you a quick example. If a developer is sitting in US and he's developing a code, and if another developer is sitting in India, he's developing a code on the similar application, then they have to work in tandem. Both the work cannot overwrite one another, or both cannot keep on writing the same code. That is a duplication of work or replication of work, which can prove to be very costly. So they have to be totally in sync, in collaboration, in communication, on the same page all the time to see to it these issues do not crop up. And many repositories, I spoke about single point of truth, single source of truth. Yes, we believe in single source of truth, but having many single source of truth is not a single source of truth, right? So having issues in one way, like in one repository, and bugs in another repository, requirements in another repository, no, that's not how it has to be. Organize multiple repositories with a hub to maintain and track changes to all artifacts. You have to have it under one warehouse. All artifacts have to be sitting under one warehouse. Okay, so what is the desired outcome in this across SDLC in this create, validate, and deliver phase? What is the business advantage you get? Ideas being realized, ideas seeing light of the day. Okay, needs compliant results, and stakeholder satisfaction. The stakeholder has to feel that yes, this is exactly what I wanted, and you have delivered exactly the same thing, and I'm so happy, right? And how does validation and deliver end up with advantage realization? Congruence, that is, when I say congruence, is a dictionary word. Let me just explain it. Congruence means, as I just said, a customer saying, yes, this is exactly what I wanted, thank you so much, is being congruent with the work. And ideas give rise to business as usual. Explicitly understand needs, drive validation and delivery process. Single repository of project artifacts, we just spoke about it a minute back, and customer expectations are met. Okay, so just to do a kind of a recap in a very short time span, and with just using one slide, we spoke about in create, that is define and design phase, which is creation according to us. We spoke about unsatisfied customers, scope creep and rework, and product delays. And in validation, we spoke about inflexible schedules, inability to change quickly, inability to meet or handle or manage those change requests coming in quickly and very effectively, lack of insight, which is not having a proper control, not having proper visibility, which leads to not having proper predictability. We do not know where the project is heading to. Is it heading towards success or is it heading toward failure? If yes, how? In delivery, we spoke about performance problems, missed commitments, which is non-delivery on time. And apart from non-delivery on time, missed commitment can also mean not meeting the promises which you made when you told your end client that yes, this is what we are going to deliver as per the SLA or as per the project agreement. And reputational risks, yes, we certainly spoke about that. How do you handle this? In creation, you have to have a foundation to collaborate, create, innovate, and track. In validation, you need to test to increase quality and visibly validate business needs. In delivery, manage change to effectively deliver and manage the software, manage the application which you're developing. Okay. How have we, over the last few decades, been achieving helping our customers achieve success and achieve precision? Is through our various solutions, which are individually called as Caliber and Silk Central under requirement management, and helping our partners establish governance in validation phase through Silk Central, which is test management, Silk Test for automation of functional testing, Silk Performer for performance testing, Silk Mobile for functional testing of mobile applications, providing quality and performance suites. In Deliver, we've been pioneers in providing providing control to our partners through a solution called Star Team, which takes care of change management in Agile and also in any other methodology. Right. So I think I am on time, and that brings me to the end of our presentation category or presentation section. So I'm open for any questions. If any of the participants have, I'll be happy to answer them. So Srilagna, over to you.
Thanks, Naveen, for the presentation. And You will now be able to find the questions on your control panel. They will be in the questions tab. I have assigned some already. Please confirm.
Yeah, I'm trying to expand them. I just have one.
Yeah, I have
What
sent.
is GI?
I have sent you two. You can undock the pane as I told you earlier, and
Okay,
I'm going to
okay,
keep
okay,
on assigning more questions.
okay, okay. Let me take them as in how in the same order they have come to me. What is the level of priority assigned to software regeneration in maintenance phase? Okay, that moved up. That's come from Maharasan. Okay, this is a nice question. What is the level of priority assigned to software regeneration? That's a new terminology which is totally in sync with the topic we have been having. But this talks about that particular software regeneration in maintenance phase. That is the delivery, what we were talking about in SDLC. The level of priority in the industry as we speak today is always prime for software regeneration, because once the particular software or the application it's delivered, the particular outsourcer cannot wash his hands off. Okay, here we can face, if it's the same outsourcer who has developed, tested and delivered the application, if the same software company is doing the maintenance, then software regeneration becomes easy and you can put it at a high priority. But if, as I said about multiple outsourcers, there is a bit of a challenge. But having said that there is a challenge, we cannot wash our hands off. Okay, there cannot be a blame game between two different outsourcers. So the priority, to give you a simple answer in one word, the priority has to be always high in software regeneration, even though it is in the delivery phase or in the maintenance phase. Okay, so moving on to the next one, usually how many QA cycles we should have to achieve good quality? Very wonderful question, very, very practical. In fact, your question itself has an answer in it. QA cycle cannot be many. Many QA cycles lead to a lot of time consumption. Again, that time consumption results in not meeting the deadlines. So the lesser QA cycles we have, the much better it is to meet the timelines. And in order to achieve good quality, you have to have, as I said, a sync between requirements and testing, between requirements and development, and a complete sync between requirements, development, and testing. So if you have this synchronization, integration under one roof, then the QA cycles would be low and you can achieve a good quality there. Next one is a very simple question. What is GIT? GIT is Globally Integrated Teams. Even though we call it as GIT, the truth of the day is they are not integrated. That can be due to time zone, that can be due to distance, or it can be due to bad collaboration and communication. So a simple expansion of GIT is Globally Integrated Teams. How do we achieve end-to-end traceability between all different teamwork, like traceability between a source code to a test case? Wow, great. This is being asked by Shivajab. Shivajab, really a very good question. How do this is your question also again enables me to summarize our discussion today. Different teams, as in you have a requirement management team, you have a development team requirement management team is coming up with freeze baselines as their artifacts. Development teams are coming up with the codes, and test teams are coming up with test cases, right? So a requirement management tool, I'm providing a direct answer to your question. A requirement management tool should be able to trace a particular requirement, let's say requirement A. It has to trace directly to a source code, and the same requirement management tool should be able to directly trace to a test case, and it should also be able to build a sync or build a relation between the source code and the test case. That's when the scope of birth of defects goes really, really low. So a requirement management tool, having captured requirements is not good enough. You have to have a proper management, and that proper management tool, requirement management tool, also have to have a good traceability, like the way I mentioned it. In such case, you have a complete sync, and you can also do an impact analysis. If there is a bug, how does the source code get impacted, and how does that impact on the source code, how does it get impacted on a particular requirement? And then immediately you can get in touch with the end customer or the stakeholder and have a discussion, take a feedback, immediately bring a change into the requirement. And since there's a traceability, it reflects on to the source code and the test case, so you have a complete, clean, smooth flow of impact management which happens here. Global team, okay, just give me a moment. I'm moving on to the next question. Global team not in sync. Can it be solved in an effective version control system is used? Yes, it's being asked by Maharas and KS. Absolutely true. It can be handled by effective version control tool. Let me go a step forward by saying that effective SCCM tool, software change and configuration management tool, that tool is, as I said in my presentation, is a warehouse, is a go down where it's a single source of truth, it's a single hub of all artifacts. That tool has to be very, very effective, and it has to be user friendly, and it has to really integrate the teams of who are following GIT, globally integrated teams, right? So that particular software configuration, software change and configuration management tool is certainly the answer for global teams to be in sync. Next question is, can you suggest online books, sites to gain in-depth knowledge of SDLC? Okay, there are many online books and sites which can give you more in-depth knowledge of SDLC, but right now what I can suggest is go to www.borland.com, and there are multiple forums, public forums, where you get to, apart from gaining the knowledge by going to the rich material which is available there, you can also participate in the forums and get to gain knowledge. That was asked by Nimesh Garg. Next question, is agile technology required for SDLC? That's being asked by Manas Patnaik. Yes. I'm not saying that agile technology is only required in SDLC. Agile technology can certainly be a part of SDLC. That's what we are seeing since the last at least a decade, that many people are adopting agile technology into their methodologies, into their practice. Yes, having said that, SDLC can certainly be followed for different methodologies as well, which is waterfall, iterative, or a hybrid methodology as well, right? And talking about agile methodologies, all the tools and solutions which we build in Borland, that is Caliber, Silk Central, Silk Test, Silk Performer, have all been developed by using agile methodology themselves. So we don't just talk about agile technology, we also live and practice agile methodologies. I hope I am delivering a proper answer to each and every question, and my answers are helping clarify the queries which you have in mind. Moving on to the next one, what is the best method to speed up a testing process without cutting corners? Wow, this is great. Sundaresh Nagraj, this is being asked by Sundaresh Nagraj. Thanks for this question, Sundaresh. As I've already discussed, the best method to speed up a testing process without cutting corners. Yes, I know companies do let go bugs and go live. Companies do just dump the defects which are there and go live and try to handle it in the maintenance phase, or try to put it over the wall onto the guys in deployment and support and maintenance. That is cutting corners. I was trying to define what exactly cutting corners is. Yep, as I've already said, have shift left. I use the term shift left, right? That's very, very important. You should have a front to back approach. You have to have a proper requirement which is in sync with the end customer's expectations. You design a model accordingly, develop code accordingly, and then test it accordingly. There won't be any bugs, and then you won't be cutting any corners. If you have a back to front approach, that is when you're testing, you come across a bug, then it goes to development, it goes to the architects, and then it goes to the business analyst. That takes in a lot of time, and when you're not ready to compromise on time, you cut corners and go live by compromising with the bugs. So best method to speed up a testing process is to have a front to back approach. Next question, how SDLC aligns with Prince2 project management? It's been asked by Vibhishan Maharana. See, SDLC is an age-old practice. Software development lifecycle, yes, many people who are on the call today, they themselves would have seen or heard about this technology or heard about SDLC in their engineering days or when they were graduating. So SDLC easily, and it's a proven practice, it easily aligns with Prince2 project management or any other project and portfolio management. So the practice, the proven practice which you put into place, and a proper utilization and capitalization of the tools. Here you're talking about Prince2 as a tool for project management. A proper utility and a sync or an integration with other tools like testing tools or white box testing tools, development testing tools, many other tools. You have tools for UML diagrams. These have to be totally handshaking with each other. So at that time, it becomes a proper utilization and capitalization of a different tools across SDLC and not just in silos. Okay, moving on to the next question. How far is business analyst methodology differ in India software companies with other global software companies? Anthony Joseph. Cool, great. I'm left with no option here except to talk about the truth. Unfortunately, the business analyst methodology is practiced very less, or is on low priority in India software companies when it comes to global software companies. Global software companies, with our own experience, we have seen that they give a lot of importance to requirements gathering and management. That's where the business analyst methodology fits into. Here, India software companies, having said that, India software companies are showing signs of maturity and are using many requirement management tools apart from notepads, sticky notes, emails, and MS Word. Right? They are using tools which can create a test case out of a requirement. Right? So, yep. To just, as I've already answered, to put it in again simple words, to summarize answer to your question, India software companies are not there yet, where the global software companies have already reached when it comes to business analyst methodology. Okay, moving on to the next question. Why is the testing phase started so early in software development lifecycle? Shashwat Rishi is the person who is asking this question. It's not that you start a development phase early in life cycle or a testing phase early in life cycle. If we talk about agile methodologies and iterative methodologies or hybrid of these two, then everything has to be started pretty early in the SDLC at a respective point in time. They have to run in tandem. They have to happen in parallel. So having said that, Giving emphasis to testing early in life cycle brings down the scope of ending up with bugs when you are just when the deadline is staring right at your face, right? In order to beat that, you have to have a testing phase early in the life cycle so that you are in the comfort zone and you can do due justice to the project and meet the customer's expectation, and also do justice to the agreement which you have signed with the customer. So if you do not want the deadline staring right at you with red eyes, then you need to have a proper synchronized phase of requirement management, modeling, development and testing pretty early in the life cycle, and also carry forward the same synchronization till the project is delivered. Everything running in parallel and handshaking very well with each other. How to decide which software methodology to follow for a particular project? Mohammed Zishan. It depends on what project it is, on what technology and what platform your particular software or a particular project is. As per the maturity which we have seen in the software industry in the last decade, Agile is being promising. Having said that, people have not forgotten, or people have not dumped waterfall and iterative. In fact, my own personal experience has been that I've seen a hybrid model between iterative and agile. That was a best practice which a particular customer of ours had developed with the innovative thinking within the team. So it again depends on what is the timeline which a particular project has, how much budget that particular project has, and what is the strength of that particular project. Based on that, you can have a suitable software methodology. The best I have seen, as far as my personal experience goes, is a hybrid between iterative and agile. But there has to be a proper synchronization between the both. Moving on to the next question, how do you integrate requirement management with version control or change management using micro-focus tools? It's been asked by Nitya Kalani. Nitya, thanks for this question. Our tools, which I would like to mention it here again, requirement management is done by Calibre. Version control, which I kind of went a next step ahead and said software change and configuration management, not just version control, it has many things in it, which is being delivered by Star Team. These are the name of the tool. So how do you integrate requirement management version control tool? See, our Calibre and Star Team, they are integrated out of the box. Okay, you do not have to break your head in integrating them both, because it's coming from our labs. They are integrated together. Let's say if at all you want to integrate Calibre with any other third-party version control or software configuration and change management tool, then you can certainly do it out of the box. Vice versa, if you want to integrate Star Team with any other requirement management tool provided by a third party, then that too can be done very easily out of the box by just clicking on a few buttons in the GUI. They are that open. We are an open technology company, so we do not say rip apart your current practice and implement only ours. Not that way. We are open and we can certainly integrate. So to answer your question, our Calibre and Star Team come readily integrated, and they also can be integrated with third-party tools. So are we really, just a moment, are we really increase quality of the software with the help of agile methodology, because many organizations using the same methodology? This question is being asked by Sagar Tilekar. Yes, there have been instances where there has been an increase in the software quality by using agile methodology, but very effectively. It's not that you go just by the book. It's not that you're being practical in using agile methodology by having stand-up meetings, by having scrum masters run them. It has to be very effectively practiced. That's when you have an increase in quality. If you're having agile methodology and if you're not implementing well in the practice, then it again leads to a lot of confusion and complexities. That's the reason many people are undergoing agile methodology training. There are many Scrum Masters who are coming up on a daily basis, and then they are effectively implementing that methodology into their project, and hence it's a fact that we are seeing an increase in quality. Next question, which design pattern we use as default pattern for SDLC if we are unable to decide the design pattern? Vibhishan Maharana has asked this question. I quite don't understand the question here. Which design pattern we use as default pattern for SDLC if we are unable to decide the design pattern? Okay, let me make some assumptions while answering this question. If you mean to say by design pattern which methodology, then the most risk-free which can be used, risk-free methodology which can be used without much of an expertise in the methodologies is waterfall. If you do not have a decision on which methodology to follow, the easiest and the one which is least risky is waterfall. But if you have the right set of people, if you have good amount of a healthy time in your hands for the project and experienced people, and if you have Scrum Masters in the project, yes, then you can certainly go in for agile methodology. I hope my assumption was right, and I hope I answered your question. That was Vibhishan. Okay. Next question is, can I build a software project without SDLC models? That is Muthu Mahendran. The answer is a no, because you have to have a particular way. I'm trying to use very simple English here. You have to have a base. You have to have a way, a systemized practice in order to carry out a project successfully. If you are saying that can I build a software project without SDLC models, then yes, you are inviting trouble because you are ignoring a base. You have to have a base. Okay, that comes for a project. But if at all you are developing a very small application which can be built in less and let's say in 10 days or in 2 weeks, and it's the delivery of that small project is totally risk-free, then yes, maybe you can go ahead and build that particular project without having any SDLC models. But if you're talking about a large-scale projects, then yes, you have to have a base, and SDLC is a proven base. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is being asked by Nimesh Dani. How do we provide a time estimate for a project using agile methodology, especially when we are not elaborating and doing the requirement analysis upfront for the project as a whole? It's like, I want to give an analogy to this particular question. Let me repeat this question. It's a very interesting question, hence I'm repeating it twice, which I didn't do it for other questions. How do we provide a time estimate for a project using the agile methodology, especially when we are not elaborating and doing the requirement analysis upfront for a project as a whole? The analogy to this is you are signing up for a 100-meter race. Okay, everybody is well practiced. They are experienced athletes. Okay, you have also signed up. You are also experienced athlete, but you tie your leg up, one leg up, and you want to run that race on that one leg, competing against the others who are running on both the legs. And end result, what happens? You know that. So as far as our experience goes, if you're not elaborating and doing requirement analysis up front in the project as a whole, the results are going to be disastrous. This is our experience. We have seen it. Requirement gathering requirement analysis, elicitation, and requirement management is key to a project's success. If you are then going, let the methodology, you are mentioning about agile methodology here. Well, let's talk about any other methodology. It's like you are running in any stadium. You are running in an Olympic stadium, or you are running in a local stadium, or you are running in let's say Asian Games stadium. Let it be anything. When I say these stadiums, I'm referring to different methodologies: agile, waterfall, or iterative. Any stadium, if you're running on one limb, you're not even. It's sure shot that you're going to lose the race, and it's also very well known that you're going to have a fall flat on your face. That's exactly what's going to happen. So any methodology, any project, requirement analysis, gathering, and management is key to be used upfront in a project as a whole. Okay, so that's the last question which I answered. So we are bang on target as far as time is concerned. It's 4 p.m. on my clock. So over to you, Sri Lagnam.
Thank you so much, Naveen, and you have greatly used the time, made good use of the time rather, and have taken as many questions as you could. However, I would still request all the attendees, if you still want to continue this discussion offline, please feel free to drop your queries on our discussion forum on techgig.com, where Naveen can also come and answer to those queries. You can also write to us directly, or you can write to our speaker today. And the recording of today's session will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow afternoon. So for those who missed part of the webinar today, please come on techgig.com and go through the session all over again. On that note, I will wrap up the session for today. Thanks, Naveen, once again for joining in and giving that wonderful presentation. And I hope to have you again probably on a similar webinar topic in near future.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sri Lagna. The pleasure was all mine. I enjoyed it, and I hope the participant also had pleasure in being part of this session and got some real valuable inputs. Looking forward for more such sessions in future. Have a great day and a great week, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Naveen. Thank you, everyone,
Bye-bye.
for joining in. Bye.